Hello everyone, welcome back to Anxiety Tea Tuesdays. It's Tuesday. This is actually a lie. It's Monday, but I'm filming this in the hope that I can upload it on Tuesday. That was just total bullshit. This is tea though. It's iced tea, which is what I have been addicted to this pregnancy. Peach iced tea, which I was exactly the same with my pregnancy with Lila. Completely addicted to peach iced tea. But yeah, today's Anxiety Tuesday, Monday, is going to be a quick one, but I was just thinking about this earlier and kind of struck me as something worth thinking about, I guess. So I wanted to talk about the what if thoughts. What if this happens? What if that happens? Like, what if I go out and I panic? Or what if I go out and I throw up? Or what if I get there and then I have to leave and then I have to find a way to get home, and then whoever's event I'm at gets angry because I've had to leave, and then I have to find someone to drive me and I can't drive myself, and like, that's just the things that popped into my head just then. But those have been some of my what if thoughts in the past, and replace those what ifs with whatever your what if thoughts are. It's interesting that we get so caught up in these thoughts of what if this happens, what if X happens, because what we're trying to avoid is that happening. So we like kind of unconsciously go through all the possible worst case scenarios, and then we sit them there and we think, okay, if that happens, what am I going to do? If that happens, what am I going to do? And I guess part of doing that is, you know, our survival instincts way of trying to survive and trying to anticipate what might go wrong so that we can best avoid it going that way. And we get in the habit of thinking that we have to think these things, because it's like, I have to be prepared. Like when I say you're going to someone's party, like when I go to that party, I have to think about what might happen beforehand, because if it does happen, I need to know how I'm going to deal with it. You know, like it's a real possibility that I might panic, or it's a real possibility that I might feel sick and I have to go home. How am I going to figure that out? But then the thing that occurred to me, because I actually have somewhere to go tonight and my brain was what ifing. I'm like sitting there eating lunch and my brain's just looping through it. And then I'm like, I can count on one hand the number of times that something bad has actually happened when I've been out. And by something bad, I mean like something awful, that it's like the worst case scenario where I'm like, oh my God, what if that happens? I can count on one hand the number of times those things have actually happened. And I was like, why am I so worried about this stuff happening, even though it rarely does happen? And what I realized was the thing that happens 99 to 100% of the time is that I spend so much time beforehand thinking about what's going to go wrong. And usually when I'm at a party or whatever, or dinner or wherever it may be, sometimes I'm panicked and sometimes I feel anxious and I feel scared and I excuse myself and I go to the bathroom and I work through it, I guess. But other times I end up forgetting about the anxiety once I'm there and I have a great time. But the thing is that worst case scenario that I'm what ifing about furiously, trying to figure out what I'm going to do if that happens, that rarely fucking happens. And more likely what happens is that I put myself through hell thinking about what might go wrong and how I'm going to figure that out. So I was thinking, maybe what I need to be what ifing about is this moment right here. So not me going to the party or me going to the dinner or, you know, me going on holiday. I don't need to be thinking about what's going to happen once I'm there. I need to be thinking about what's going to happen if I do what I'm doing right now. So in this moment, while I'm what ifing myself to death, how can I work through this moment? Like, what am I going to do to help myself in this moment? How am I going to figure this out? And so I started thinking maybe I can be a bit more open to it. Maybe I can, you know, sit down on my yoga cushion thing and just like open to the fear and open to the thoughts. And maybe I can tell myself, you always think about this. Like, you pretty much always spend a lot of time and mental energy thinking about things that are going to go wrong, and they rarely go wrong. So let's, instead of thinking about what's going to go wrong, let's just think about this moment and how you can open to some tenderness and some compassion and a little bit of courage as well. And it really changed my outlook. So you've probably heard the idea that anxiety is about projecting yourself into the future and trying to predict what's going to happen in that future event so that you can stay safe. But then what we end up doing is we live in hell in the present because we're so busy thinking about all the terrible things that are going to happen in the future. So instead of projecting yourself into the future, if you can catch yourself in that moment when you're what ifing about what's going to happen down the track, reel it back and think about what's happening right now. Because what's happening right now is the thing that you need to be most concerned about, and that is you are anticipating an event so awful that you're physiologically making your body feel like it's happening right now. And so you're starting to feel sick, you're starting to feel nervous, you're starting to feel anxious. And you know, if you think about it in terms of like what I was saying, you know, I can count on one hand the number of times bad things have happened. You know from your past experience that chances are once you get out, you're going to be okay. Generally, the anticipation is the worst part. Even if you have had occasions where you've gone out and something bad's happened. Like I remember I went to a dinner either at the start of this year or the end of last year, and I panicked halfway through and I had to go home, which is really rare for me actually. Usually I'm fine, but that day, whatever reason, I couldn't cope, and I was like, I have to get out of here, and I didn't like doing that. But that's one event, whereas there's been millions of other events where I've gone out and been totally fine. So you and I both know that it rarely happens that the worst case scenario actually occurs. And the thing is, if the worst case scenario does occur, we'll be able to deal with it. And as much thinking now, all the prepping and thinking and worrying about it now is not going to change at all how we deal with it in the future when it actually happens, if it does actually happen. So all the shit you're putting yourself through thinking, what if this happens? What if that happens? How am I going to get home? What am I going to do? It's not going to change anything in the future. If you panic and you have to figure out how to get home, you're not going to be like, gee, I'm glad I thought about this 3 days ago and worried about it for, 4 hours at a time because it really helped me figure it out now. No, it's not going to help you down the track, and it's certainly not helping you now. So come back to the moment and remind yourself that what if, you need to think about what if now, not what if then. And if what if now, if what's happening right now is that you are freaking yourself out about things that are going to happen into the future, how can you support yourself in this worst case scenario? How can you support yourself in this moment here? And it might be for you that that's going out for a walk. I know that used to be how I would best deal with things if I was feeling really anxious, was I would get out and just take myself for a walk down the street. Not so much today because it's hot and I am pregnant as shit. It might be that you sit down with an iced tea, take a little moment to breathe. It might be that you have a cuddle with your fluffy friends. It might be that you journal or you read, whatever it is. You're going to take care of yourself in this moment, because this is the moment where you need the most help. This is the moment where you need the tenderness, the compassion, the courage, the support. This is the moment when you most need you to show up. Kind of an obvious one in a lot of ways, but also just something that was like processing through my head as I was sitting there. And so I thought that it might be interesting to share for Anxiety Tuesdays/Mondays. Hope you're all doing really, really well, and I will see you probably after Christmas.